Issue 165. We start out with Knuckles, Vector, Julie, and Rouge at a table, with Rouge looking irritated being asked to take it from the top. Why isn't she with Scourge? Their relationship crap out that fast? I really can't wait to learn why she dumps him. Rouge asks resentfully if that's how Vector treats everyone who comes in looking for help, and is told only those with a reputation like yours. I then giggled at the interaction between Knuckles and Rouge. Rouge asked Knuckles, "I'm sure you can make all of this go away," and Knuckles deadpans, "Not likely." Vector explains that according to Sonic and Tails, she popped out of a warp ring right outside Freedom HQ. Without Scourge? Why? Rouge explains that a girl has to get around somehow because Fang wouldn't loan her his marvelous Queen vehicle. Julie asks how she got a hold of warp ring technology because it's exclusive to Angel Island. She asks why she should tell them, and Knuckles reminds her that she came to him for protection, and they can't do anything unless they know what they're up against. Why'd she come here for protection? Did she really not want to help Dr. Finitevus? Rouge is told that people have already told him that people stepped in with the dirt on her. And we see Mighty and Ray, with Ray ready to take notes, and Mighty saying that they really appreciate this and they'll keep this all confidential. I like how Fiona's all awkward and nervous, saying, "Sure, Sonic guy," probably wanting to ask him to leave the room. And Sonic reassures her with a smirk and his hand on her shoulder that, "I don't exactly have a stellar past either. It's cool, Fiona." That's nice, but how? How doesn't the hero of the world have a stellar past? What did he do wrong aside from Sandblast City? And he was forced to do that to its force field to escape it. Then it's finally made clear to me why Fiona's here. She uses her past to give them information on what she learned about Rouge to prove she's a criminal. She calls her the best of the best. She had beaten Rouge in an illegal fighting tournament involving Bean and Bark. Wait, they just said everything would be confidential, and then Vector tells Rouge that Fiona was the one who told him about it. Then it's explained that Rouge beat Fiona out of every treasure, both ancient and illegal. Wouldn't the ancient also be illegal? And in the latter panel, she's seen without Nicolette. Rouge, after being told that she's wanted, says she'll fill them in from when she was last here. I like how while Rouge explains Dr. Finitevus, we see Scourge looking just as wary and suspicious of him as Rouge is. So really neither of them want his evil plan to succeed. It's almost as if it isn't in Scourge's nature to work for Finitevus. At the very least because he'd rather be his own boss. Rouge explains that she and Scourge helped Finitevus break into Eggman's egg vineyard, where he had a lot of Knuckles' enemies captured. Half of them were dead, but Dr. Finitevus rescued what was left of the Destructix. Are they going to tell us which Destructix died, or is it just like they're killed off unceremoniously? Since their master, Mammoth Mogul, had deserted them for some reason, even though he was using his power to protect them as well as protect himself, and he has to have protected them, or they would have died along with the other half. The rescued Destructix joined Rouge, including Lightning Link, Sleuth Dog, the Bird, Flying Frog, Drago, and Sergeant Simeon. These guys all have unique and interesting character designs, but they're literally all just the same personality copied and pasted over and over again. Generic bad guy. Thug. The end. Finitevus brought them back to a base guarded by Isaac. He wanted to steal all of Isaac's data, but most of it was either corrupt or erroneous for some reason. So was Isaac killed off unceremoniously with nothing else done with his character? I mean, I hope not. That would be a waste. She then says, he was guarding a frozen corpse. Can a robot go insane? Was it really a corpse? Why'd he want to steal his data unless he was really curious? And why'd the data get corrupt aside from, oldness? Why wasn't Isaac working well enough to stop him, like he was dead? Finitevus was looking to control dozens of ancient missiles because he's a bad guy. And naturally, Rouge ruined all of them to stop his plan. He didn't like that. So that's why she stopped being with Scourge. Scourge chose Finitevus over her. She had to escape from Finitevus, so she stole one of his warp rings and came here. I kind of wish we could have seen Finitevus' plan being carried out in actual story instead of being narration. But at least this way it's explained really quickly in short panels. Julie looks really angry for some reason as Knuckles asks if she was followed. She says she probably was, and then we see Fiona looking sympathetically depressed, and Sonic reassures her with his hand on her shoulder. "Cheer up, Fi, you did good back there." Fiona asks Sonic, "You forgave Bunny and the others for mistaking Scourge for you, right?" Why the hell is she talking as if that's something that needs to be forgiven? It's an honest mistake. They looked exactly the same, somehow, even though Sonic got his green eyes in a special, unique way. How did Scourge get them? Also, I'm really confused at the text box that clearly Fiona is saying due to the text is connected to Sonic, and the text box that would be Sonic is connected to Fiona. But yeah, it's pretty obvious that Fiona is feeling guilty. Let it never be said that post-Ian Flynn Fiona could never feel guilt. As Tails is nervously hiding behind a tree, Fiona says awkwardly, well, it's just that... Oh, great. For better or for worse, she gets interrupted from possibly admitting something really important, when I would have liked to see the result of that. Either she would have gotten in huge trouble, or a potential problem would be nipped in the bud. Instead, Sonic notices Tails, and Tails apologizes, saying scared that they just snuck up and... while Fiona's holding Sonic's hand. And then we see Sleuth Dog holding Tails hostage from behind the bush, holding his tails together by the end. Sonic pointlessly wastes time threatening Sleuth when you think someone is fast acting and thinking it's him would attack him immediately. But instead, his hesitation from Sally's bad influence gets him attacked by Scourge. While we see some blurs rush at each other, Fiona looks at Sleuth resentfully and says, I told him to hold back. Told who? Why would he think Scourge would? Is he that much of a softie? And hold back against who? Sonic? Well, he did never snap his neck. Fiona says, you can let go of the kid. What do you want? And Sleuth explains that he's here for Rouge, though he doesn't say her name. With him having called someone a traitor, Fiona snarks, this coming from the guy who sold the freedom fighters out to Robotnik. Honestly, I'd say that's something she would never do. No matter what, she hates Robotnik because of her past, so that's hardly hypocritical of her. In fact, I think she'd say that even long after this issue. Sleuth asks her if he should tell Sonic why it's so ironic for her to call him a traitor. Scourge then reveals that he came back for his girlfriend, and taunts Sonic that he loves how she plays it like the two are for real. This fast? I really wish I got to actually see that, them communicating. Also, for some reason, I was already familiar with this issue before I read it for the review. For some reason, I remembered Scourge saying instead, she's a real fox. I guess that would have made things too obvious, but he knows what he's saying anyways. Fiona tells Sonic that she told Sleuth the Chaotix were questioning Rouge, and she says that if they take back the warp ring from her, he'll leave. Sonic gets the warp ring in a blue blur as the comic actually remembers to take advantage of his super speed, and Scourge gets Tails all mad by casually saying to Fiona, later, sweet thing, and going into the warp ring. I guess he's mad because he thinks that he's not respecting her by complimenting her. Tails sadly apologizes to Sonic for being used as a hostage. After Fiona says, whatever he told you, it's a lie, Sonic really worries me because, well, he says, it's cool, Fiona. His expression is nothing but cold hatred and suspicion. I mean, it makes sense. She blew it right then and there. How would she know that Scourge told him that? How would she assume that so easily if she wasn't already cheating on him? Never say Fiona's a master liar, because if she was, she would have just kept quiet. Either way, it's clear that Scourge started sowing the seeds of distrust in Sonic, and honestly, I don't think he even realized it. He was just saying stuff to taunt Sonic regardless of whether or not he'd believe him. I don't buy that Scourge is the planning that far ahead type like Mammoth Mogul. And it makes sense that Tails wouldn't tell Sonic that Fiona was possibly cheating on him because maybe he was just being a nice guy and hoping that the problem would eventually go away. Also, why does Tails have two mouths in this panel? As for Fiona looking so sad, I'd say she does value her relationship with Sonic here, and if she's cheating on him, she just can't choose right now. There's nothing inherently evil about it, aside from, like, obviously the partner who's cheated on won't be happy about it, but she's not really sure what she wants right now. So she would want to preserve both relationships to preserve both potential futures of love and support. That means she'd naturally be scared of losing Sonic too early because she doesn't want to go back to being single, at the very least. She's lonely. I never got the impression that she loved him, but she does value what they have for the time being, or else she would have ended the relationship a while ago. Meanwhile, after Knuckles says the interrogation was somehow a waste of time when they at least got info on Finitevus, Julie reveals why she hates Rouge. She's jealous. She says that she saw the way she was looking at Knuckles and stands up to her with a passionate rant. I love that this whole conflict was actually addressed. Knuckles and Rouge is a pretty popular ship after all. Although nowadays I don't see how it makes sense anymore when Rouge is an evil jewel thief. Kinda incompatible with Knuckles. She says, he's the only person to make me feel like something other than a soldier. He is my soulmate and my equal. But if you try to take away someone that precious to me, I'll show you how good a soldier I can be. Rouge's condescending seemed to attack her wrists. I hope that didn't make her have to get a cast or something. She says she specializes in stealing precious things, and taunts her while holding her wrist still. So she wasn't injuring her. Julie's interrupted from calling her a bitch. It makes perfect sense that she'd say that since she's a former sassy punk from Dark Legion and all. The story ends with Rouge taunting her that she looks forward to their next visit. Where'd her crush on Knuckles even come from? His looks? She can get literally any guy willing to do what she wants. Why Knuckles who won't? She's just doing this to spite her out of nowhere. In the next story, Knuckles says to Rotor that he was told his father called, and Rotor says he's on the main screen, but he's not sure how because there's no signal. There's an energy signature, but nothing with any frequency he recognizes. Knuckles simply explains that the chaos energies are hard to explain, and then I promptly start giggling at Knuckles' response to Locke. I didn't know we were allowed to use the Master Emerald to make long-distance calls. That was pretty funny. I mean, why wouldn't he be? Locke pressures him and the Chaotix to come home. Locke explains that General Cage and his army are still a constant threat to Angel Island, and that the Dark Legion is caught up in their own civil war. Leon Duh commands the Flame Legion, which I guess makes sense since she has red hair and flames are red, while an unknown Echidna is now Grand Master of the Frost Legion. Flame and Frost Legion? Where the hell did that come from? These names are stupid unless they literally have fire and frost powers. Does the Flame Legion have the only people with flame swords in it? Does the Frost Legion have people with only frost swords in it? If the names mean nothing, then they're just stupid because they don't mean anything. If they do mean something, I'll like it more, but still, this sounds silly. I mean, even the Dark Legion was bad enough as a name because it doesn't really make any sense for a group of people who were born out of a stupid technology ban. I mean, if you think about it, when a city is full of technology, right? So that means it has lights all around it. So wouldn't the Dark Legion be supportive of light instead? Because they're supportive of the electricity from technology? If a place is all dark, that means there is no technology to create all that light in the night sky. So you think the Dark Legion would be against technology considering that kind of a name. So it's stupid. It's just there to make them sound villainous generically. Knuckles is surprised that Locke doesn't know who runs the Frost Legion because he's too busy to investigate when the Master Emerald needs protection. Locke explains he spent his whole time looking for the Brotherhood, which Knuckles figures out without needing to be told why. How does he know that? Knuckles then asks him if he's looking for Charmy's family just as hard, and Locke answers yes, as if they're not dead. Of course his family would have survived arbitrarily. Why did I ever think any differently? It's just that they seemed like excess baggage to me. Surprisingly, since this could go either way, Knuckles grits his teeth and reluctantly says that he won't help Locke because the problems in Angel Island all stem from the same source, Dr. Robotnik. You taught me to never approach the problem head-on. You taught me to look at all sides of the situation. I have, and I found the best route to saving Angel Island and everyone else is to defeat Dr. Robotnik. That has nothing to do with finding the Brotherhood, but whatever, man. When Locke tells him that he can't guarantee the safety of his mother because he's too busy guarding the emerald and stuff, he makes a huge mistake because he unintentionally sounds like he's threatening her on purpose. And this gets Knuckles so enraged at him that he punches and destroys the screen. I love seeing Knuckles get that angry, and it's always been so rare in the comic because there's more to his character in the comic than a rage-filled idiot. He self-awarely says, "I'm sorry about your screen." I like that Tommy is intimidated by him, stuttering that he'll fix it. And after he annoys me saying, "Not now, Tails," fortunately Tails says what he wants anyways. What you did was right. It was kind of funny how he mumbled, "Maybe not breaking the screen," in the same text box. That's so Tails! This issue was written by Ian Flynn. The first story told us about how Dr. Finitevus and Scourge freed some of the Destructix from the egg graves somehow, I guess with magic, and he inexplicably planned on using some ancient missiles after finding Isaac, broken, I guess. So Rouge stopped him from doing that and left him. And Scourge stayed with him in the meanwhile because he would rather spite Sonic, and we never saw them really act as anything more than partners who happen to hold hands anyways. Still, it's so anticlimactic. It would have been nice to actually see the story around Scourge carrying out that mission of his. A mission that really wasn't evil at all. I mean, he freed some criminals to be part of a gang of his who didn't really deserve to be freed. In fact, they should have been killed. But I can understand the freedom fighters doing the exact same thing freeing them because it's the right thing to do, saving them for the sake of it. So again, Scourge not that different from Sonic. Sonic would save them too. He's just saving them for different, selfish reasons, but it's the action that counts. We also get an interesting look into a few of the things Fiona did in the past, with her once participating in a fighting tournament with Bean and Bark, I guess for the sake of making money, and her resenting Rouge because she kept taking the treasure she was hunting with her flight. It makes perfect sense that the two become old rivals. And then the last of Sonic's trust seems to be shattered, as while he could handle Fiona being a former criminal, Scourge implying she was cheating on him with him crossed the line. So it was his fault Sonic's trust started to waver. Was Scourge smart enough to plan this, or did it just coincidentally turn out that way? There's never any planned manipulation between Sonic's taunts, so why would it be different for his twin? And ironically, I still feel sorry for Fiona here. I mean, she's cheating, but at this point, she's at the phase of a cheater where she values both relationships and is trying to choose. She sees a valuable future in both and doesn't want to lose either. She might even think she loves both of them, which would make sense because they both have almost the exact same personality. The only difference is Sonic grew up a hero because of Robotnik. Her fatal mistake here was saying whatever he told you was a lie, because she should have had no way of knowing or assuming so easily that Scourge would get her in trouble, unless she was already doing something wrong. She's not exactly good at this. The second story has Knuckles saying no to fighting General Cage's army for Locke and finding the Brotherhood, because he's too busy fighting Eggman, even though we barely seen him do actual fighting at all, but whatever. There's only so much comic space, I guess. The real stinger is that Locke told him he can't guarantee his mother's protection. Since he's still in love with Larry, it's obvious he wouldn't actually let her get killed, and just had a moment where his social skills were just as bad as Knuckles' is. At least I hope not, otherwise that'd be a huge out-of-character moment. I know he's been tortured for a year, and that would mess anyone up, but not enough to make him like this. There are also a few lines from Knuckles and Tails that made me giggle, which is good.